Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and today we're going to talk about something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and that's hopelessness, or feeling down in the dumps and they don't feel like they have any path forward. And I feel like this is a really important topic to discuss and learn how to cope with this, so that way you don't feel like you're just stuck there, you're trapped, you don't have any path forward. If you clicked on this video, you may be at a point where you just feel like you're throwing your hands up in the air and you just want to give up on life. And so let's talk about how to find hope in hopelessness. Before we get into today's video, if you don't know me, my name is Missy. I'm a life and relationship coach, and on this channel we get to the root of the issue and we learn how to heal and deal. So if that's your thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the fam. And if you already are a subscriber, I really appreciate you so much. Let's get into today's video. So let's first define, what is hope? Hope is when you have an expectation or a desire for how something should go, or for a certain thing to happen. Now, what is hopelessness? Hopelessness is when you have these unrealistic expectations of how life should go and you feel really terrible that life isn't going the way that you had hoped. And you have unrealistic expectations of what your life should look like. Key word is your life. And before you're ready to throw up the punches and be like, or click off this video and be like, what are you talking about? I'm struggling with depression. I have cancer, or I have this health issue, or I'm going through a divorce, or I'm going through all these terrible things. I'm going through a loss. What do you mean I have an unrealistic expectation of life? So here's the thing. Hopelessness is caused by external factors, but it's a battle within. So it's valid for you to want to get out of your situation, for your life to be different, 100%. But you have unrealistic expectations of how your life should be. So what do I mean by that? You are not facing the reality of what is, and you are thinking of what it should be, or what you should have, or what should not be happening. So when you're playing these stories of, you know, your life shouldn't be like this, or you want something different, you're thinking about the outcome, or maybe you're thinking about how other people's lives are, and or the visual of how you want your life to be, but you're not facing the reality and accepting of where you are right now. The only way to get out of hopelessness is for you to have realistic expectations of what you can do, and your goals and your dreams and your hopes. So for instance, let's say you have depression. It's unrealistic for you to expect yourself to wake up happy every day, and for you to be able to have the energy that maybe your friends have, and for you to have the same excitement of life that everyone has. You didn't choose to have depression. If anyone tries to tell you that you choose to be miserable, or you know it's your fault why you have depression, I'll fight them for you, because it is not your fault why you have depression at all. You didn't choose to be hopeless and helpless and feel stuck. But with depression, and just like anytime you're going through a negative situation, you tell yourself these negative stories, and you have these negative thoughts and self-talk and these stories on repeat. You know, I'm worthless, I'm never going anywhere, I'm trapped, my job doesn't pay me enough, or I lost my job, my wife or my husband's terrible to me. You have these stories on repeat. In your situation, you're thinking about what it should be. You know, you should have a good wife or husband, you should have a good job, you know, you're thinking about what it should be, and then you feel even worse because the reality is it's not like that. And not only that, when you're down in the dumps, your brain is more likely to activate those memories, how bad life is. Maybe in the past things were really bad, or you're just seeing life in this negative light, and so you're activating all these bad memories, and so you're continuing these stories that life really sucks and it's bad, and that is completely hopeless. So the thing is that it's not wrong for you to want a better life, or for things to be better, and they absolutely can, but you have to be realistic about your expectations. For instance, with depression, you can't expect yourself to go from feeling down the dumps, the clouds over you, to everything's fine and you're great and you're dandy. And I know you want to close your eyes and it just happens that way, but that's not what it is. With depression, you have to have a lot lower expectations. If you're someone that struggles getting out of bed in the morning, you need to start setting goals for you to help yourself get out of bed. Like, your expectations and your reality should be, I have to start over and start small and do small things and not focus on what it should be, but rather where I am and what can I do. Because once you accept reality and where you are, then you can actually set realistic expectations and goals for yourself so you can get out of it. If you're in delusion la la land and you're like, I'm so depressed and I should be here, you're just gonna set yourself up for failure, because you're not setting realistic expectations or goals, and you're just sitting in that hopelessness of things will never get better. So when you're feeling hopeless, it's really hard to do things. You feel really demotivated. You're in a lot of pain, you're hurting. And what's happening is you're operating off of low-level beta frequency. And that's where you experience a lot of depression, anxiety, and negativity. It's really hard to get out from being down in the dumps when you're operating off of those low-level frequencies. What you need is to operate off of the alpha high-level waves of frequency. Alpha is where more of the creativity lies and where you're able to be more positive. Studies have shown when you operate off of alpha frequency waves, it's easier to get out of depression. It actually helps depression. And the best way to activate that is through mindfulness and meditation. Meditation and mindfulness is an important tool in controlling this tool and machine right up here. When you're in those beta waves, it feels like you're out of control and just negativity is just coming at you, or you're seeing things in a negative light, or you're just feeling really down in the dumps. And when you're in a more of an alpha state, you're calm, cool, collected. You're able to handle those negative situations that come your way in a better way, because like I said, with hopelessness, you're experiencing negative things. That is real. There is no debate about that. The issue is the way that you're processing it and you're handling all the negativity that's happening, and that's why it's a battle inside. So let's see some of the positives that are in hopelessness. And you may be questioning, like, what is this girl talking about? There's positives in hopelessness? Well, yeah, there is, because hopelessness, one, it helps you grow as a person. When you're down in the dumps, you can't hit much more rock bottom from there. You're already at rock bottom. So that's a positive. And you're able to grow and become the person you're meant to become, meaning you're strengthening your character and you're adding to it. And also, it's normal to experience pain, and everyone, I'm not gonna say everyone, but most people do experience feeling down in the dumps or hopeless, or they feel trapped, or they feel lost. That's a normal human experience. Hopelessness makes us realize, there's shitty things that happen and we have to learn how to conquer them. And so you want to embrace that hopelessness and be like, you know what, this sucks, but I'm gonna embrace it, because this hopelessness will help me build character and it will help me to actually get out of the bad place I'm in. Hopelessness is the reality that shit hits the fan, life sucks right now, and things need to change. Our emotions are always there to tell us something. So that's one positive, because you can't control the outside circumstances, but you can control how you react to it. And the other positive thing is that even though hopelessness is, it's because of external factors, it's a battle within, like I had said, and so then the solution is also within. That makes you feel more in control. If you feel like you're a victim to your circumstances and everything's happening to you and you can't do anything about it, then of course you're gonna feel helpless and hopeless and like everything sucks. But if you understand that how you react to all these terrible situations, you will feel a lot more empowered and in control. And here's the thing. You may fight me and be like, well, you know what am I gonna do? I have a terminal illness, or I have something terrible that's happening, like I can't change my circumstances, or I can't work towards something. Yeah, you're right. You can't change your circumstances. So if you can't change your circumstances or what's happening, change the way you react and you respond to it. So you can't control that this is happening, but you control, how you live the rest of your life, how you view life, who you interact with. And that will help give you a sense of being empowered and in control, rather than feeling like something's happening to you, even though it is. But you're making it your bitch by being like, listen, this shitty thing's happening, but I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat, and I'm gonna determine how I handle this shitty thing. And the same thing goes for depression, any mental illness. You can't control that you're feeling these things, but you can control the way you respond to it. And then there's other situations, like you're in poverty, or you're going through a divorce. Those are things that maybe you have more control over, and you can absolutely do something about those situations. But you also want to change your mindset and how you deal with it internally within. Now, going back to the stories we tell ourselves when we're feeling hopeless, all those stories we tell ourselves are straight up lies. There's negativity and lies on repeat, and we make bad decisions for ourselves when we're telling ourselves those stories. And so the most important thing is that you don't listen or trust those negative stories, because there's no real evidence to back up any of those stories. There's no evidence to back up that nothing's going to get better. Can you tell the future? Are you a wizard? Are you a psychic? No, you're not. It doesn't matter how bad things are. Things can always get better. And it all is based on us and what we do. Okay, so now that we went over hopelessness, what can you do? How do you get out of this? So like I had mentioned, the first thing you want to do is that damn story, or those damn stories that keep playing. Look at it from a meta perspective. Look at it from outside of yourself. What are these stories you're telling yourself? Would you say those things to a friend? Are things really hopeless where there's absolutely nothing you can do? Take yourself out of that position and see yourself from a different perspective, or try to see yourself from a different perspective and see, like, what would you tell a friend, or what would you think if a friend was going through that? And what you'll probably realize is that you need to stop playing those stories over and again. You need to stop comparing your life to other people's lives. You need to stop thinking about the fantasy of what should be and focus on what is and what you can do and what steps you can take to make your life better. Even if it's a very small step of you're depressed and you can't get out of bed and you start to work towards getting out of bed every day. That is a small goal that you need to set for yourself in reality of what you can expect of yourself. I expect myself to get out of bed every day, even though it's hard, rather than expecting yourself to be happy-go-lucky, have a great life. That can be the ultimate end goal, but you need smaller goals, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But the stories, they're all lies. And remind yourself, those stories are lies. They're not true. The next thing I would say is, other people, they may try to tell you, like, it gets better, or, hold on to hope, whatever. I don't think that works. Throw that out the window. You do need some sort of hope, but I'm not gonna say, like, oh, just believe. No, there needs to be a little bit of that, but no. What I will say, and this is something that's helped me since I was a very young kid, is I didn't think about how things would get better. I got curious. I was curious. I was like, what could life be? So you want to think from a curious standpoint. If I don't move on with my life, what could I possibly be missing out on? What could come? If I change my attitude, what would be the outcome? What would I be missing out on? And this is the one time when I feel like FOMO would actually be positive, not extreme, but a little bit of like, what am I missing out on in life if I don't try to move forward or do something to help my situation? Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be actions, it could also be internal. What are the possibilities? Think about all the endless possibilities of what life could potentially bring. And like I said, there needs to be combined with a little bit of that delusion of believing it's possible for things to change. That's what's really important. It is important to have that, it's possible for things to change, but don't just think like, oh, we'll get better. Get curious about the different possibilities of life and what it could potentially bring. The next I would say is identify which battles you need to face and what you need to do to face it. So that, like I was mentioning before about the goals. So identify the battle and then say, okay, this is my ultimate outcome, and I'm gonna put it like, way out there. That's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the smaller things I need to face right now, and take it one step at a time. What are the small things I could do to help me eventually get to that point? So like, let's say for instance you're drowning in bills. What's something small you could do? Maybe you could start to you could start to pay off the smaller bills. Small things like that. Or maybe you could do a little bit of a side gig. If you're going through a divorce and you're feeling really down in the dumps, maybe a small thing you could do is start to get out there more and start to socialize. Even if it's a little bit, even if it's, surface level socializing, whatever you feel like you're struggling with, whatever it is, think about the battle and what you want to do to face it. And like I said, let's say you have a terminal illness, worst case scenario, and I'm sorry if you're experiencing that. Think about something small you can do. You can change your perspective. You can live each day as if it's your last or your first, or however you want to see it. You can see the world in a different view. And be realistic with your goals and your expectations, and understand failure will happen, and that's okay. More negativity may come your way, and that's okay. Don't get discouraged because of these negative things that are happening. You may start to get to a point where you're feeling better and then you go down a little bit. That's okay. That's normal. Expect that to happen. You can't succeed without failure. You got to keep pushing. You got to get up every day. You got to keep pushing. If you really want things to get better, you got to understand you have to make it better, whether it's mind or action wise. Unfortunately, and this is a harsh reality, but no one's going to save you. You have to be the one that saves yourself. It's not that it gets better, it's that technically you make it better. So having realistic expectations with that. The next thing is understanding your why. Why are you doing it? Why do you want what you want? Why do you want health? Why do you want a better life? Why do you want to get out of poverty? Why do you want to get out of a bad situation? Why do you want it? That's really important. It may be really hard when you're feeling hopeless to think about why you want it. You know, things don't feel good anymore. You lose interest in things. You're in a lot of pain. So you have to rediscover, your why. It's because you're worthy of having those good things. It's because at one point you really wanted to go after that art career. Or there's a point you wanted to have a family. What is your why? And hold on to that why for dear life. And that's where a little bit of delusion comes in. That's where you need a little bit of fantasy of imagining having that why. Not that you should have it, but that you're eventually going to go after it because you want it so bad. That's your why. Another thing to help you get into those alpha waves is meditate. That's so important. Meditate, practice mindfulness, meaning being in the present, seeing leaves on the floor and telling the colors and the smell and maybe the taste, imagining what it tastes like, what it feels like, all of those things. Using mindfulness to be in the present will help you get in those alpha waves, as well as having meditation, relaxing your entire nervous system, because when you're in that depressed state, you're in a freeze response. You don't feel like you can go on, you don't feel like you can do anything. To get out of that, you need that meditation and those positive, good feelings. And the last thing, which actually can help you have more of those positive feelings, is practicing gratitude. And the reason why gratitude is important is because you're in a state where you're not able to be in those low frequencies or down in the dumps. And so it helps to make you feel more positive, and it helps you to feel hopeful and grateful. I know it can be hard to practice gratitude, especially if you don't appreciate life and you maybe don't want to be here and it sucks. But there are always small things that you can appreciate. Or maybe you feel like you don't have anything to appreciate. Everything sucks so bad. Like maybe you live in dirt and you don't have electricity and all of that. It's so bad. But there's always something to be grateful for. For instance, you have eyes that can see. Maybe your health is good and you're okay. Maybe you have loving family. Whatever it is, you have a bike that you can, go around it. Whatever it is, there's always something that you can be grateful for. There's a million things to be grateful for. The sun in the sky. And what's really important with gratitude is to actually feel it, not to just say it, but actually, imagine not having those things. That's what can help you feel more grateful. So what I will end with is, no, I don't expect you to really find hope in hopelessness. What I would hope is that you know that you can change your situations based on the way that you deal with that internal battle within. And like I said, you're valid for all the terrible things that are happening to you, but they don't define you. And you can get out of those situations. You just need a little bit of that belief in the delusion and a lot of a change in your mindset, and then it will help you to change your actions and what you do with your situation, and being realistic about what you can do. Maybe letting go of some dreams that aren't able to happen. Like let's say you're 50 years old and you're a woman, you want to have kids. Letting go of that is really important, and then maybe you can adopt, or you can be a TT, you can be an auntie, whatever it is. With hopelessness, have a shift in your expectations. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys! So you probably won't notice, but usually I have a white little vase right here. Well, guess what? It broke because of my own, what is the word I'm looking for? Not even just stupidity, clumsiness. So I was on a video call with my best friend from the 4th grade, and I was trying to put a vacuum away, and it just so happened one of my lights was also in the way of the vacuum, and then everything just went tumbling. The light went tumbling, the vase went tumbling, and this is the second time I broke it. Second time. Third time's the charm. Gotta find it and buy it again. I don't give up on things. That's family for life. We ride together, we die together. What is with this? If every time I was out in the dump, someone was like, oh, you know, life could get better, I would, you know, want to throw my middle fingers up in the air and be like, what are you talking about? Don't lie to me. You have no idea.